I started crying up here. Now, how many of y'all remember the jumper cables out there, folks? All right, well, I'm here today, and this is my main reason for being here, is to pay tribute to two of the best brothers and two of the best musicians I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I have lived and worked all over the country. I've played out in LA, in Atlanta, Austin, Dallas, Nashville, you name it, man, I've been everywhere. And I've been fortunate to play with some of the best musicians God ever created. And Stevie and Paul are two of the best musicians that have ever walked this earth.
Amen.
Unfortunately, Paul is no longer with us. I think about him all the time, and I miss that so much. Thankfully, Stevie's still here, and he's still kicking, and I'm so glad he's here with us today. I tried to think of some cool stuff to say about the cables, and I wrote down a few things, and I realized that that's not how we ever operated. When we started out, I used to make set lists, but when you make a set list, you try and make it flow. Audiences do not respect that because they don't know what you're trying to do, so they like what they like. You have to stop and roll and go with it. So we stopped doing that. So rather than tell you what I was going to say, I'm just going to do this. I met Paul Tucker when I was living in Milledgeville, Georgia in the late 70s. And I was in a band called DC Kicks, and our bass player was Don Moxley, who's from here, a fabulous bass player. He decided he wanted to move back home. So Bobby Carr, the guitar player, says, well, man, I got a bass player and you'll love him. I was like, okay, whatever. And so Paul's the guy that showed up. Now, from the moment I met Paul, from the moment we hit a note, it was like he was living in my head. And we're both Libras. We're separated by a couple of years and one-day birthdays. And I swear, I was like I've known him my entire life.
All the rest of them got a plaque.
That guy could play anything, and he was so unassuming and just peaceful about the whole thing. I mean, you could tell him he was great, and he'd go, yeah, okay. And that was about it. But when he got on stage, man, that dude became like a Tasmanian devil. So, after about a year, he went to play with Tall Dogs. Now, as coincidence would have it, who plays drums for Tall Dogs? Stevie Kent. So, fast forward a few years, and I'm playing with this crazy keyboard player, Rudy Wyatt, and he calls me up one day and says, I'm putting this thing together, we're going to play new organ and stuff and some funk and all, and I got this rhythm section from Macon. Okay, maybe I know. So I show up, and who is it? It's Paul freaking Tucker and Stevie Kent. And just like Paul, who has not lost a step, and I still got him in my head, the first note I played with that man, Stevie Kent, was like I'd known him my entire life. All I had to do was think. He would go in that direction, and for the next 3 or 4 years, it was just like, I could think it, they would play it. If you play it, if you build it, people will come. It was a fabulous experience. So, when I think of the cables, I try to think of some words to describe them. And force of nature is something that came before. Because, I mean, being on stage with them was like being in the middle of a hurricane. I can't imagine what it'd be like being in the audience, watching that and getting that from them and trying to give it back to them. Because, as I said before, these are two of the greatest musicians that have ever lived. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm telling you some serious truth here. Because I've played with the best. Best is still sitting right over there. Paul's still one of the best. They're in my top probably 3 rhythm sections of all time. No matter who we're talking about, they are the best. So, I'll leave you with this. We were playing in Milledgeville, Georgia, one of those first gigs with Rudy. Me and Paul and Stevie are sitting in somebody's car at the local Zippy Mart. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. We're eating some chicken and potato boats. Potato boat, by the way, is where you take a potato and cut it lengthwise, and it looks like a boat. So we're sitting there eating this stuff and shooting the shit. And his brother comes up, and he sticks his head in the car, not in the window, but in the car, and he looks at us and he says, and I quote, "Say, Holmes, y'all got some jumper cables?" Yeah, I know, it seems innocuous now, but at the time it was like a light went off and we decided that's what it was going to be. Now, when we first started playing, we were Holmes and the jumper cables, which got shortened to the jumper cables, which got shortened to the cables. The Cables were a fearless band, and I'll put them up against anybody that's out there nowadays doing what we did because we did it first. And I don't care who you are and how much you love some of the bands out there nowadays, these jam bands. We took our cue from the Allman Brothers and jazz bands, and we did that very same thing, what, 40 years ago? Got that right, Slick. So it is my privilege, my pleasure, girls come on up here. It's my privilege and pleasure to induct into the Lowcountry Music Hall of Fame two of the best musicians I've ever known and two of the best people I've ever known, Stevie Kent and Paul All Night Tucker! Now, since Paul is no longer with us, God rest his, I have two very special people I want to accept for him. These are his daughters, who I've known since probably even before they were conceived. And they are two of the best people I know, and I love them like there's my own blood. By the way, I'm very thankful today that all my blood is here. Thank you so much. I love you. This here's Jeanette. What's her name? Natalie. This is Jeanette and Natalie Tucker. Give it up for me. My good friend and brother, and I'm glad you're still above ground, Mr. Stevie Kent.
Oh, damn it.
Hey, you know what? I guess. Ready?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank God for letting me be here.
Come on, guy, move, please.
I would also like to thank all of you, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be up here today. For your support, and your friendship, and coming out and supporting us over 3 or 4 years has been the best thing in the whole life. I couldn't say another word about it. It wasn't for you. Thank you very much.
Natalie and Jeanette would like to say thank you very much. And Kim would like me to tell you that even though Stevie has danced with the devil a long time, he now beats the skins for the Lord. What y'all looking at? You want something else?
Yes.
Okay, you're a noisy young man. Okay, give me a minute, we'll play a couple songs. How about that?
Woo, yeah.